Prepare yourselves. The bells have tolled. Shelter your weak, your young, and your old. Each of you shall pay the final sum. Cry for mercy! The reckoning has come!
Hello everyone! Every year with Hollow's End, the screams of the Headless Horseman fill the sky. We were not always forced to listen to his rhymes. Once the Headless Horseman was a noble paladin by the name of Sir Thomas, and this is his tragic story. In this time period, Kel'Thuzad had started to spread his plague amongst the citizens of Lordaeron. This plague was inside the grain and it turned innocent civilians into scourge. Prince Arthas, Jaina and others who followed him tried to stop Kel'Thuzad and his plague from spreading. Their journey would take them to Strathholm, where Arthas' lust for vengeance made him decide to purge the city.
Glad you could make it, Uther.
Watch your tone with me, boy. You may be the prince, but I'm still your superior as a paladin.
As if I could forget. Listen, Uther. There's something about the plague you should know. Oh no. We're too late. These people have all been infected. They may look fine now, but it's just a matter of time before they turn into the undead.
What?
This entire city must be purged.
How can you even consider that? There's got to be some other way.
Damn it, Uther. As your future king, I order you to purge this city!
You are not my king yet, boy. Nor would I obey that command even if you were.
Then I must consider this an act of treason.
Treason? Have you lost your mind, Arthas?
Have I? Lord Uther, by my right of succession and the sovereignty of my crown, I hereby relieve you of your command and suspend your paladins from service.
Arthas, you can't just...
It's done. Those of you who have the will to save this land, follow me. The rest of you, get out of my sight.
You've just crossed a terrible threshold, Arthas.
Sir Thomas was a member of the Silver Hand, a righteous paladin, and he, like Uther, decided to walk away from Arthas and his mad decision to purge the city. Surely there had to be a better way to fight the plague and the scourge, besides murdering innocent villagers and hoping that you kill the infected. That left them with the task of trying to defend the villages against the scourge, while Arthas made his way to Northrend. Their food supplies ran short, since they could no longer trust the grain. Thomas began to doubt the light. Despite all his praying, despite their relentless battles, they could not drive out the plague that was the scourge. Surely their suffering must have a higher purpose, but Sir Thomas could not see it, and he begged the light for guidance. In his moment of doubt, a shipment of fresh food sent by Baron Rivendare arrived in town, and Sir Thomas thought that he was a fool to ever doubt the light. He prayed once more to the light, and he said, "May this trial strengthen the people of Lordaeron and make us worthier agents of your loving purpose." The food did bring strength to the villagers, but not as Sir Thomas expected. Baron Rivendare was a long-time friend of Kel'Thuzad, and he had joined the cult of the damned. The food sent by him was just as plagued as the grain was, and the villagers Sir Thomas had fought to protect now turned against him. He used the powers of the Holy Light to smite them down, and he reported the news of Rivendare to the others. Thomas blamed himself. He should have seen it coming, should have known that this food would push the villagers into the hands of the scourge. But the others assured him that he could not have known, and the guilt was not for him, but for those who betrayed them. Thomas was sent home to his loving wife and 2 children, so he could get some rest before the next battle and enjoy what he still had. On his way home, Sir Thomas ran into a pack of scourge, but he managed to slay them and find his wife waiting for him. Arthas returned from Northrend and had killed his own father. So in the meantime, Sir Thomas spent some quality time with his family. He told his children stories, and eventually news got out that Jaina Proudmoore was taking all those willing to Kalimdor. Thomas urged his wife to take the children, leave him behind and go with them, but she would not go without him. High Lord Mograine, together with a mighty weapon called the Ashbringer, had killed killed many of the Scourge, and his wife was certain that Uther and Mograine together would free the land of Lordaeron from the Scourge infestation. In the meantime, she and the children would stand at Thomas's side and wait for him. Sir Thomas was a blessed man. The very next day, a messenger arrived bringing some very bad news. Uther had been slain by the hands of Arthas, and many of the other paladins fell as well. Sir Thomas was called to join the remaining paladins of the Silver Hand and fight against the Scourge. He begged his wife to take the children and leave this doomed land. Get on a ship, follow Jaina to Kalimdor before it was too late. A storm was approaching, so they had to hurry, and finally his wife agreed. He placed them on the ship, and for 4 long years the Knights of the Silver Hand battled against the Scourge, and eventually they would become the Scarlet Crusade, and they rallied behind one great man. High Lord Alexandros Mograine wielded the Ashbringer, and with it wielded a righteous fury guided by the light. This blade was incredibly powerful, and the paladin who used it was no pushover either. Until the one day would come that not the Scourge, but his own flesh and blood would betray him and strike him in his back. His oldest son, Renaud Mograine, made a deal with Saidan Davrohan, and Saidan was actually murdered, and the Dreadlord Balnazar used his form as a disguise to lead the Scarlet Crusade into ruin. Balnazar had made a deal with Kel'Thuzad that they would kill off the main threat for the Scourge and put Balnazar in a more secure position with the Scarlet Crusade. If Renaud could lead his father into a trap, then Saidan would give him a high position within the Scarlet Crusade. Renaud led his father to Strathholm, where a large group of Scourge was waiting for him. His father, despite being greatly outnumbered, was able to kill all the Scourge, but the battle did weaken him. He dropped the blade, the Ashbringer, and at that moment his son picked it up and struck his father in his back. Another great man fallen to the madness of the Scourge, another blow for Sir Thomas. Having a Dreadlord as your leader is not good for any organization, and the Scarlet Crusade already started with a lot of damaged and madly devoted people. Eventually, as time went on, they lost sight of what evil they were fighting. The Lich King first used grain to taint their people and turn them into Scourge. But who could say what methods he now used? How do you know who to trust? How many ordinary looking people had already fallen to the temptation of immortality? How many among them were actually already part of the Scourge, even though they looked like innocents? When the Scarlet Crusade reached the town for a plague check, all seemed normal, which made it all the more suspicious. How was it possible that this town offered shelter, had food supplies, and was able to defend itself against the Scourge? Surely this must be another Scourge conspiracy, and the best they could offer them was a clean death.
I can only help you with a clean death. That was just the beginning.
Sir Thomas, in all his years of fighting the Scourge, finally fell to the same trap as Arthas had. He purged the city, killed innocents until finally he struck down a woman trying to flee with her 2 children. He killed her, he killed her son, he killed her daughter, but as he struck the child, she turned around to face him. It was a familiar face, the one of his own beloved daughter. A storm was brewing when he placed his family on the ship, and apparently they didn't manage to leave the harbor in time. They had found refuge within this town, and in his mad conquest he had done the unthinkable. He had killed his own beloved wife and children. At that moment, Sir Thomas snapped. Countless blows were dealt to our Sir Thomas. The light had forsaken him, and the Scarlet Crusade had guided him to a path of madness. His brothers and sisters of the Crusade locked him away as he dealt with his grief. But Sir Thomas was too far gone. He laughed and howled and cried, and he yelled creepy rhymes that would stick in your head for days and give you nightmares. The leader of the Crusade, Balnazar, in the disguise of Saidan, told them that there was nothing to worry about. We all deal with our grief in different ways, and he had a plan. On that night, the night of Hollow's End, the people of Azeroth come together to burn a Wickerman. As they throw the torch into the fire, they also cast away their grief and everything they want to leave behind and not take with them into winter. Balnazar thought it would be a good idea to let Sir Thomas out. Isolation did him no good, so a change of pace might do the trick. As they had hoped, Sir Thomas struck out against the Scourge. His attacks drew their attention and the Scarlet Crusade moved to help their brother, only to find out that he was their brother no longer. He slaughtered anything and everything in his path, chanting his creepy rhymes. With no other choice left, they decapitated Sir Thomas and ended his madness. Or so they thought. Balnazar had other plans with his corpse and he infused it with foul magic and resurrected Sir Thomas as the Headless Horseman. Now every year on the night of Hollow's End, the Headless Horseman rides the sky. I fought for you, I fought in vain, now scatter, scurry, shriek in pain. No mercy on this night abides, on Hollow's End, when the horseman rides. Cry for mercy, little children, when he burned down your house. This horseman has lost it, and now he believes that everyone is evil. Kel'Thuzad, the Scourge, and even Arthas have done a lot of damage to the land of Lordaeron, and the once righteous Sir Thomas is one of the most damaged beings to come out of that war. A paladin once holy and righteous saw his order fall, his king die, the people he wanted to protect turn into Scourge, his land in ruins, and finally the Scarlet Crusade pushed him into the darkness that took so many before. Killing his own family was the final straw, and now the Headless Horseman can no longer see the difference between friend or foe. In his eyes, all of us, from orphans to kings, all of us look like the Scourge that took away everything from him.
Fire consumes. You've tried and failed. Let there be no doubt. Justice prevailed.
Happy Halloween, everyone! I hope you get lots of candy and that nobody tries to burn down your house or annoy you with silly rhymes. Subscribe if you like my videos. And until next time, guys, see ya!
This end have I reached before. What new adventure lies in store? Ha ha!